You were at Google for a long time, and they invented the transformer architecture.
Peter. It's all Peter's fault.
Thanks to brilliant people over there like Peter and Jeff Dean and everyone. But now it doesn't seem like they've kind of lost the initiative to OpenAI, and even the last leaderboard I saw, Anthropic's Claude was at the top of the list. I asked Sundar this; he didn't really give me a very sharp answer. Maybe you have a sharper or a more objective explanation for what's going on there.
I'm no longer a Google employee.
Yes.
In the spirit of full disclosure, Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning.
Okay, so that is the line that got him, in trouble. Not really in trouble, but was controversial. It was everywhere, all over Twitter, all over the news. That line, Google prioritized work-life balance, going home early, not working as hard as the competitor, to winning. They chose work-life balance over winning. And that's actually a pretty common perception of Google. If you've watched the show Silicon Valley, the company Hooli, which is really just a parody of Google, there's a group of engineers that just sit on the roof, kind of suntanning all day, not doing anything, and just vesting. And apparently that is based on things that happened at Google. And so that's what he's talking about here. And maybe that is what happened.
And the reason startups work is because the people work like hell. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but the fact of the matter is if you all leave the university and go found a company, you're not going to let people work from home and only come in one day a week if you want to compete against the other startups.
When in the early days of Google, Microsoft was like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so I don't actually believe going into the office is absolutely required. Hard work, working your butt off, yes. If you're going to start a startup, you got to be prepared to put in crazy hours for extended periods of time without burning out. But I don't think it's necessary to be in person every single day. NVIDIA, the company he's talking about, the most valuable company in the world, is a remote company. They allow work from home. And there's also plenty of other examples of that. So it's definitely not required, but that's not what Eric Schmidt thinks.
There's a long history of, in my industry, our industry, I guess, of companies winning in a genuinely creative way and really dominating a space and not making the next transition. It's very well documented. And I think that the truth is, founders are special. The founders need to be in charge. The founders are difficult to work with. They push people hard. As much as we can dislike Elon's personal behavior, look at what he gets out of people. Mm-hmm. I had dinner with him, and he was flying. I was in Montana. He was flying that night at 10 p.m. to have a meeting at midnight with X.AI. Think about it. I was in Taiwan, different country, different culture, and they said that, and this is TSMC, who I'm very impressed with, and they have a rule that the starting PhDs coming out of they're good physicists, work in the factory on the basement floor. Now, can you imagine getting American physicists to do that? The PhDs? Highly unlikely.
Yeah, I agree. The work ethic required to start something incredible, to start a world-changing company is just, it's required. There is no way around it. And yes, say what you will about Elon Musk, he works his butt off and he requires his team to do the same, and they've built incredible things. And when I had my own startup, years and years ago, I put in crazy hours. I made a lot of sacrifices. I mean, every day, all day, 7 days a week, that's all I thought about. That's all I did for years. And it took a lot out of me. It's not for everyone. But if you are wanting to do that, you got to be prepared to put in that kind of work.
And the problem here, the reason I'm being so harsh about work is that these are systems which have network effects. So time matters a lot. And in most businesses, time doesn't matter that much. Right? You have lots of time. Coke and Pepsi will still be around, and the fight between Coke and Pepsi will continue to go along, and mm-hmm. It's all glacial, mm-hmm. right? When I dealt with telcos, the typical telco deal would take 18 months to sign, right? There's no reason to take 18 months to do anything. Get it done. Mm-hmm. It's just, we're in a period of maximum growth, maximum gain. So, and also it takes crazy ideas. Like when Microsoft did the OpenAI deal, I thought that was the stupidest idea I'd ever heard. Outsourcing essentially your AI leadership to OpenAI and Sam and his team. I mean, that's insane. Nobody would do that at Microsoft or anywhere else. And yet today, they're on their way to being the most valuable company. They're certainly head-to-head in Apple. Apple does not have a good AI solution. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they made it work.